So today's video is going to be about fixing the hardpoints, for which first we need to find them. So searching for the component hardpoint, which I seem to have inconveniently forgotten the name of. Okay, let's just search for the name HP in the bar. Good. You can see there are two sets of objects named HP. The greyed out ones are the MFD equip screen items. The active ones are the actual vehicle hardpoints. Here you can see they are stored under the main parent called Hardpoints, obviously, duh. So now we open the maintainer menu and have a look at what things are linked to the hardpoints. In here we can see that the hardpoints are linked to the vehicle sync, damage sync and the weapon manager, which we need to know if we want to do any changes. I also know that it is linked to the loadout configurators, so we will need to change them too. So now we want to remove all hardpoints that we will not be using. The real F-117 only has 2 hardpoints on its internal bays, but I'm going to put 2 optional hardpoints on the wings. This was actually tested in real life, but it also allows me to conveniently show how these work. Now I'm going to remove all of the hardpoints 5 through 8 and the gun hardpoint. Obviously I will need to follow up later by fixing where they no longer exist. If you need to add extra hardpoints, then you would add them to the list with a new name, give them a new name, give them a new hardpoint index number, and add them to the components instead. So we delete all those. Now open Maintainer, and if we click on the Weapon Manager button, it takes us to where these are held. So we can see inside the Weapon Manager component there is a section for hardpoint transforms, and there are now some missing items. We need to remove these from the list. We also need to adjust the symmetry indices so they match up correctly. I'm going to set it so that HP1 and HP4 are the wings, with 2 and 3 being the weapons bays. So I adjust these. Oh wait, hang on, completely messed that up. Oops, I forgot here that it's not the HP name, it's the index number. So element 0 should link to element 3, which is HP1 and HP4. Then 1 and 2 should cross over. Okay, finally, that's right. As you can see, that can be quite confusing. This is because the index numbers refer to the index numbers in the Weapon Manager list. Now we go down to the Player Vehicle Net Sync component. Again, in here we can see there is missing items in the vehicle parts list, so we remove those. Then finally we can move to the damage sync component and we can remove the missing items here. Now coming back to the actual hardpoints, we can see that the hardpoint index in the hardpoint vehicle part is 1 for HP1. This however should be index equals 0. Then we need to adjust the hardpoints so that from HP1 to HP4 they are indexed as 0 to 3. Next we need to move the hardpoints so they are in the correct places. So starting with HP 1, I line it up on the wings where I want the external optional hardpoints to appear. Then I copy the component values from the HP 1 to HP 4, and we just need to change the X value from 4.16 to minus 4.16. I then move the hardpoint along its Y axis. Next I want to put HP 2 inside the weapons bay, and I also move HP 3 to approximately the correct position. Then I spin the view around so I can see that the hardpoints are lined up. So I just check the weapon manager to make sure the symmetry is correct, then push it back to the prefab. In order for this to work correctly, we need to make the configurators have the same number of hardpoints. So we select the configurators and duplicate them. You can do this by pressing Ctrl and D together. Then I do quick rename of them both so they say F117 instead of page S. We replace the configurators in the component with the two newly created configurators. Then we bring the first prefab into the main scene window by dragging them in there. So now if we unpack the configurator and we look in the loadout configurator component, we can see that the configurator allows us to set the number of hardpoints. This has to be set to the same numbers in the weapon manager. So we remove all the unneeded hardpoints from the configurator. Just check to see if there is nothing else we need from these. No, don't see anything. Okay, so before we remove them completely, we can test by deactivating the points we no longer need. You do this by unticking the object at the highest level. We can delete these later. Next, I'll temporarily move these objects to the side so they are broadly in the correct positions. Just make sure all the ones I have left active are the correct ones. Then we drag the one in the scene back onto the prefab so that it creates the new updated prefab. Then we do exactly the same for the multiplayer briefing version. In a later version, I will show you how to update the configurators so they have all the correct details, etc. And I will show in another video how to update the weapons. So now when we open V12 VR and we load in the mod, then we go and select a free flight mission. Once we're in the configurator, we can see that the configurator only has 4 hardpoints, and when we attach weapons to them, we see them attached to the aircraft. There is still some work to do on these hardpoints, as it should have both optional external hardpoints and internal weapons bays.